the third time I'm shooting this fucking video. I hope you like it. This is Brainsmasher with Spin After Spin, Volume 2. Stuff I've been listening to in my car. I don't know if you know this, but I never, ever reshoot videos. I don't fuck up. Except for today. And yesterday. And maybe this time. I hope I don't fuck this up. Man. I need a production assistant. Anyways, so what we're listening to right now, and this album I got in today. This is Warlords, The Holy Empire. Killer, just like epic, melodic, heavy metal. This band started out way back in the early 80s, and this is their 2013 album. Maybe their last album. I'm not sure if they're working on anything or what's going on. But this is kind of hard to come by on the cheap, so I found it on eBay not too long ago. Great stuff. Track 5, Kill Zone, fucking slays. It's kind of like a laid back and sort of more atmospheric metal record, but when you get to track 5, Kill Zone, it's just like a murder fest, power metal fucking... it's so triumphant and great. So, I've been listening to stuff in my car. Don't really have a lot of time in the house. Been just like enjoying having this car and getting out of town. So, road tunes, right? So here's what I've been listening to. God, I'm sorry. I just hate reshooting a video. Ripping Corpse, Dreaming with the Dead. Just been in a total fucking death metal mood. And I just got a copy of this from blackmetal.com. So, loving the hell out of it. If I didn't say it in my video a couple of videos ago, Eric Rattan, this is his first band. Dude is a killer producer and played on some Morbid Angel records. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. By the way, something I did in my last video but forgot. If you ship CDs to someone that are used, please put a little thing of bubble wrap over the center. Otherwise, this is all gonna get busted and I gotta fucking buy jewel cases by the fucking pound these days. Next, we've got Fall of the Leaf with August Wernicke. This album, gonna look for a fucking year on it because I'm stupid. Came out in 2000. Super melodic, Finnish black metal. Really doesn't sound like anything else from Finland. I got it because I know my friend Tanner from Obsequiae is a huge fan. And really, like, when I'm looking for stuff to buy, one of the things that I do is I kind of try and deconstruct Obsequiae and think of what most influenced Obsequiae. And really, this probably is the biggest nail on the head yet. So if you're a fan of Obsequiae, check this out. Fall of the Leaf, August Wernicke. Came out on Icarus. Yeah, I don't know if that's like a reissue sort of label or what. Anyways, next, Forndom with Dora. I don't know a lot about this band or project. It's probably a solo project, but Nordvis put this out back in 2016. Beautiful, just pensive, sort of ritualistic ambient music. I don't know, ambient I guess implies that it's not very musical or compelling. It's just kind of maybe like background sort of music. But this is really intense. This is really intense and thoughtful, peaceful, sort of ritualistic music. It's beautiful. I don't really know exactly what to say it is because I don't really listen to a lot of things like this. And I don't know if there is a lot of stuff out there similar to this. If there is, I guess I would like to know. It's kind of similar, I guess, to Nest. Maybe Tenhi, kind of. But there aren't really much vocals. Maybe a little bit of kind of spoken whisper kind of stuff. But it's just super ritualistic and intense sort of stuff. Also from Nordvis, we got the new Panfaga with Jord. I honestly wasn't really ready to move on to the next Panfaga record because Drengskaper was so great, but I only got a chance to listen to that maybe 2 or 3 times because I buried myself in other albums after it came out. So I don't know, this is great. In listening to it, I've been really thinking about how much it sounds exactly like it was ripped from 1996 or 7. It's super Swedish. The drumming is brilliant. I never noticed until now that Penfaga uses programmed drums. And I think it speaks to how well he does a good job at programming the drums. Sounds realistic, and when drums programming or drum machines are used in a way that you don't even notice that it isn't a real drummer, I think that's the most tasteful way that you could possibly use non-human percussion in a metal band. Also got in Seance, Salt Rubbed Eyes. I've really been a fan of this record for 22, 23 years, but never wound up getting a copy of it for whatever reason. You don't see a lot of Black Mark records out there anywhere. You know, I comb used bins all the fucking time, and Black Mark stuff, first of all, it was never well distributed when this stuff came out in the United States. And second of all, they put out a lot of killer stuff like Bathory, and you don't see Bathory in a used bin very often. So, Seance, Salt Rubbed Eyes, this is kind of a expensive find, but it popped up on Discogs, I think, the other day for like $20. Had to bite, and getting that Flesh Crawl Impurity the other day just kind of gave me a hard-on for like this sort of 93, 94 sort of death metal that was kind of trying to move beyond the post-thrash sort of era. Speaking of thrash, we've got Church Bazaar with Sic Luceat Lux. This is a Hell's Headbangers 2-CD retrospective of a band that was only around for 4 years. But man, they left an impression, and this double CD is I busted it. Includes their full length, a couple of demos, a couple of live tracks, all the recorded material. This band just always kind of stood above the crowd for me in a lot of that sort of thrashy, death, sort of proto black metal sort of shit. The songs are very memorable. The drumming is really, really great and tasty. Reminds me quite a bit of Ola Ullman from Dissection. And actually there is a cover of a Dissection song, Mistress of the Bleeding Sorrow, I believe. There's also a Nunslaughter cover on here. So, collected works, great stuff. Check out Church Bazaar. My last Spin After Spin, I was talking about Morbid Insulter. And if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, or like Maids of Torment, or any of that other sort of like half thrash, half death kind of stuff, this is totally up your alley. Church Bazaar, Sic Luceat Lux. I bet you could pick that up from Hell's Headbangers on the cheap as fuck. So we went out of town this weekend, and I visited a couple record stores. Didn't really find jack shit, but the last one we visited, I was like, man, I gotta pick something up. So a couple of these are just like pity buys. Picked up the new Paul Bearer, Heartless. I feel like all my friends are into this band, and I don't know what the fucking big deal is. I've listened to them a couple of times, and I just can't understand why. So I listened to this album all the way through, and they're really talented at playing their instruments, but their songs are completely directionless, meandering, drool fests. This isn't intense. It isn't all that interesting. There's just nothing for me to bite on with this stuff. I don't know why people like this. I don't need to waste my time talking shit about Paul Bearer, but talk about overrated. Speaking of overrated, also picked up Celtic Frost, Into the Pandemonium. I don't like Celtic Frost at all, but the allure of this Digibook, for $11, it's remastered. I thought, why not? But the main reason, I guess, that I did pick it up is because I read an interview with Carl Michael Eide of Vedbewenzend saying that this is one of the most influential records that he had ever listened to. So I thought, why not listen to Celtic Frost and just kind of try and perceive it or reconsume it in a way through the eyes or ears of Carl Michael, and just kind of maybe understand what would have influenced them at that time. And sure, yeah, I guess I could see some of the sort of like moany teenager vocals. I imagine this is kind of where they got that idea. But for every good idea there is on this album, there's 6 or 7 bad ones. Starting the album off with a cover of fucking Mexican Radio, I just want to fucking bang my head into a cinder block. I don't understand what Celtic Frost were ever fucking thinking. I don't know. I don't need to spend a lot of time talking shit about this band, but I don't get it. So I don't know. I don't regret buying that. I'm gonna enjoy, I guess, listening to it every once in a while and just kind of scratching my head and going, huh, yeah, whatever. So another CD I picked up. Where did that go? Oh. Ah. Another CD I picked up at that store. Didn't know what this was. It had trees on it. Spiky logo. They're from Sweden. $4 sold. Turns out this is a Christian band, and the album is called Spirit of Beauty. I didn't know this was a Christian band. If you don't know, I hate Christians. Just gonna let you in a little secret. And they also suck at black metal. So I mean, I don't really need any other reasons to dislike you if you're a Christian and you suck at black metal. Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty bummed about this. I thought, I'm not going to get hung up on the fact that they're a bunch of Christians, but this is really limp-wristed, poorly written, just not good metal. I don't understand why they think this is worth spending their time on. Just play Christian music and shut up and go away. Kill yourself. I don't know. Also been listening to Upside Down Cross. This is self-titled. This is a fucking feast of riffs. Jay Mascis plays drums on it, so he must have appreciated the riffs. Jay Mascis is from Dinosaur Jr. Love the vocals on this. Love the riffs on this. It's just super fucking heavy. I guess maybe you could say that this does for me what I Hate God does for a lot of people. Not to say that this is all that similar, but it's just kind of like, you know, exists in between different genres without ever really settling on any of them. It's not super brutal, but it is really big, riff heavy, and fun, I guess. I don't listen to I Hate God whatsoever, really. I don't know, they just don't really do much for me. But Larry Lifeless's vocals are just immensely just weird and enigmatic. I just think that guy is one of the most interesting singers I've ever heard. I really channeled Larry Lifeless quite a bit on my when I did vocals for Satan's Almighty Penis's Pulsing Feral Spire. I would really be interested in singing for another band and trying to sound even more like Larry Lifeless than I ever have. I just think so fucking sick and insane sounding. And I'm pretty convinced that guy is every bit as crazy as he sounds. So another thing I just picked out of the wall of CDs was Witch Trap. Every once in a while I just go into my CD room, I don't turn the light on, I grab a random CD and I just put it in. I've just got a lot of CDs that I don't listen to very often, obviously. So this was a pretty good pick. This is their debut, Witching Metal. Hell's Headbangers put this out forever ago, it seems. I don't know, this isn't really all that terrible. It just doesn't do a whole lot for me, and it just makes me think that they're trying to sound like albums and bands that I don't already listen to very often. So instead of spending my time listening to Witch Trap, why don't I go ahead and grab a Sex Trash album, or, you know, I don't listen to early Sepultura all that often, or Sarcophago for that matter. Those bands are great and amazing, but listening to something that kind of sounds like it rather than listening to those original bands, I kind of feel like I'm wasting my time. So I don't know. I don't even see why I own this Witch Trap stuff. It's not really up my alley, and the stuff that it's trying to sound like is better than it. Let's just be honest. So also another Old Wayne's album. I read an interview with Winther from Paysage d'Hiver. My buddy John Rosenthal conducted an interview with him. And I ordinarily don't check out interviews with musicians, even though this is the second time I've mentioned it in this video. Musicians that I greatly respect. In fact, I kind of appreciate when they just kind of stay who they are in my head and who they have shaped themselves to be through their music, and not because of hearsay or whatever. But this was an interesting interview. I highly recommend checking it out. I'll put a link down below. It was on Invisible Oranges. Anyways, he talked about this Old Wayne's album, the split with Nav. It's called We Are the North, Mean Cold War. Old Wayne's is really good at black metal, but really bad at English. Just realized that. Anyways, Nav I wasn't familiar with until I got this split, and it's really fucking good. If you're a fan of the really nasty Old Wayne stuff like Scalding Coldness, Nav is twice as nasty, twice as furious and blistering. The riffs, maybe not quite as just icy chilling, bone chilling as these albums are, but the Nav stuff is really, really good. I'm happy I got this split. So there's 4 tracks by Old Wayne's, and I think this is an old demo, and then the Nav stuff is 7 songs. So it's almost like a full length with 4 Old Wayne songs thrown on there. Nav, I think, have a couple of full lengths that I'm interested in checking out after this. So for the road trip, I picked up this, and then I grabbed these 2, and oh, they're so good. Scalding Coldness is such a fucking mean record. Speaking of chilling, icy, cold black metal from the north, we've got Ethereal Nord. This is the OG Napalm version. Really bummed that this drummer quit to play guitar in the band. This is some of the tastiest drumming on all of the Swedish black metal records that I obsess over. This is super fucking good. Yeah, that's all I've got in the pile of stuff from the car. Thanks for joining me. What have you been listening to in your car? Let me know in the comments.